Moonlight has so many different looks in the world of film. Sometimes it's lit silvery, sometimes it's lit blue, sometimes it's just white. Since it's all so subjective, filmmakers have gotten very creative over the years. Here are 4 ways you can simulate moonlight and how you can replicate these looks in your next shoot. Number 1, deep blue. The moon is really just a very dull rock that's mostly gray, and even darker gray. However, because of a lot of factors going on with Earth's atmosphere and this phenomenon with our eyes called the Perjinka effect, where the rods of our eyes see things as bluer when things get darker, we sometimes think of the moon as blue. Check out the scene from Pan's Labyrinth. Most of the film was actually shot day for night, and it works really well for the narrative because of how sad the story is. Ophelia is constantly going between her fantastical worlds of gold, while the blue nighttime scenes convey a very bleak reality. Try using this deep blue moon when you want to convey sadness, mystery, or a very moody tone. To simulate the look of a deep blue moon, attach a full CTB or steel blue gel over your daylight balanced light, then set your camera's white balance to around 4000 Kelvin. This will give you a strong blue color. Remember though, the moon isn't actually blue, it's white, so be careful not to pack on the blue gels too much, or your lighting might look too saturated to appear normal. Number 2, the silver look. This look is great if you want your moonlight to look a little more shiny or silvery, kind of romantic. Check out the scene from Les Miserables. The moonlight is very silvery and reflective. It's extremely dreamlike, even though Russell Crowe singing is most certainly not dreamlike. Javert is singing to the stars, so the ambient night lighting is literally an intrinsic part of the narrative. So, having a very present moonlight is really important here. To simulate this effect, you can do something like take a daylight balanced light that's a little bluer than daylight, like a 120D which has a color temperature of 6000 Kelvin, then place a 1/4 green gel over the light. This mixing of blue and green will give you that bright silvery look that's great for a scene where you want to give a little bit of pop to the moonlight and enhance the scene. Now I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but yes, adding a little bit of green will actually make your moon look more natural. Number 3, the natural look. This look is probably the most neutral way to make moonlight and the most romantic because of how soft it is. Check out these scenes from the movie Moonlight. The moon is subtle but romantic. In a way, it's sort of another character in the story. It accentuates the quietness of the characters, but is deep enough that it captures their turmoil. Simply take a daylight balanced light and attach a softbox or an umbrella, then place the light outside and shine it through the window to the main part of your scene. Remember, moonlight and sunlight are technically the same colors, so sometimes all you need is a 5500 Kelvin light. This look is probably the most natural and closest to actual moonlight, so if you're filming at night, this scene will help accentuate your scene and give you more control over the available moonlight, which is often very unreliable. If you're filming during the daytime, however, make sure to black out the windows and everything behind the light source so that you don't have a spill of sunlight and take the audience out of the narrative. And if you want your look to be a little bluer and moodier, you can set your white balance just to give it a little bit of that blue kick. And number 4, the gray look. This look is great if you only have tungsten balanced fixtures. It's also kind of a mix of the previous 3. This final shot from Hugo is a good example. The moonlight is a hard edge around the automaton, it's a bit blue, but it's not too blue. It's subtle, but still very dreamlike. If you want to replicate a look like this, you would take your tungsten balanced light and place a full CTB over it. Then, in camera, you set your white balance to 3200 Kelvin. It's a little confusing because of all the double negatives, but basically what's happening is that by placing the blue gel over the tungsten light, you have made your light white, but you retain the hardness of the light quality. Remember, the moon is technically a balanced light, but it is also still technically a hard light because it's so far away. By dialing your camera's color temperature to tungsten, your white light then will likewise appear blue, but not too blue that it's too unrealistic. You can also try lowering the saturation of your image to mimic the overall ambiance of the nighttime. So there are 4 ways you can simulate moonlight. Remember, there really is no one perfect way to replicate the moon, especially since it's really just a giant gray rock that does nothing but reflect sunlight. So take that big gray rock and get creative. But what's your favorite way to simulate moonlight? Leave a comment below and the best answer will win an Amaran M9. I'm Nerris from the A-Team, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, we'll catch you guys next time.